In this video, I'm going to cover the whole entire market in terms of Dow Jones, NASDAQ, S&P 500, including the economic calendar for the whole entire trading week, Monday to Friday. I do post these videos up daily or weekly, so if you want to be notified when I do, consider following and subscribing so you'll be notified when I do. I'm going to cover the investor sentiment first before I get to the economic calendar and technicals. So in terms of bullish sentiment, it actually has still been decreasing. It's actually even lower than historical averages. Historical average is usually about 37.5%. Currently for the week of November 27th, it's at 37.1%, decreasing for the past 4 weeks actually, but still for the most part, it had a massive spike back on November 13th and slowly decreasing. And then in terms of bearish sentiment, it's actually increasing. Historical average is at 31%, and we've been steadily increasing for the past 4 trading weeks and up to 38.6%. So are we still heading down, or are we going to start heading down, or are we still heading up? In my opinion, based off the indications, it looks like a little bit of a slowdown / ultimately still heading up. I'm going to go over that but first the economic calendar. So for Monday, December 2nd at 9:45 a.m. we have S&P final U.S. manufacturing PMI. 10 a.m. we have ISM manufacturing as well as construction spending. Then for Tuesday, December 3rd at 10 a.m. we have job openings. And then at one point of the day, we'll have auto sales coming out for November. Job openings is for October. And then Wednesday, December 4th at 8:15 a.m. we have ADP employment for November. 8:45 a.m. we have St. Louis Fed President Musalem speak. 9:45 a.m. S&P final U.S. services PMI. 10 a.m. we have ISM services for November, as well as factory orders for October. And then 2 p.m. we have Fed Beige Book. Then Thursday, December 5th, at 8:30 a.m. we have initial jobless claims for November 30th, and at 8:30 a.m. as well we have U.S. trade deficit for October. Then on Friday, December 6th, we have for the following at 8:30 a.m. U.S. employment report, U.S. unemployment rate, U.S. hourly wages year over year, and then at 10 a.m. we have consumer sentiment preliminary for December. 10:30 a.m. we have Chicago Fed President Goolsby speak, and at 3 p.m. we have consumer credit for October. Now, the reason why I state that for the most part it might be a little bit slow is based off the MACD lines a little bit for the 1 month, 3 month, and 6 month chart. I'm going to be looking at ETF SPY, ETF for the S&P 500, as well as ETF QQQ, which is ETF for the NASDAQ. They're the same thing, just different ratio. That's all it is, exact same thing. And Dow Jones will be the Dow Jones itself. Now, if we're looking at S&P 500 first, ETF SPY. Again, if we look at the 1 year chart, MACD line is in bullish movement, so this indicates if it's in bullish or bearish movement, showing more upside. If we go to the 5 year chart quickly, actually, so I could show you guys, in case you guys are new viewers, there's an upward trend resistance line dating back since 2010, upward trend support level dating back since 2010. There is 2 major crashes that have 2 touch points for this major crash upward trend support level. Maybe by the 3rd crash, we'll end up touching this upward trend support level and then making an actual true upward trend resistance line trend line, but till then we'll see. But between this upward trend support level and upward trend resistance level, resistance level and support level, vice versa, we still have more room to go to the upside. Do we have to go all the way up? No, not guaranteed. There's been times we've got pretty close and then got pulled down regardless, but you can see pretty much for sure there's been times where this acts as resistance. Now this is for the S&P 500. The NASDAQ actually did break through during 2020 to 2022, but I'll show that when I get to the NASDAQ. So technically we still have more room to grow for the S&P. And if you look at the 1 year chart, like I stated, MACD lines in the bullish movement, 5 year chart, MACD lines in the bullish movement, no slowdown in sight technically, and then bullish movement as well. You could argue, and then plus we're above all the moving averages, 1 month, 3 month, 6 month charts, 1 year chart, 5 year chart, all above the moving averages. So bullish movement above moving averages. In my opinion, we're still heading up higher, right? Regardless of the investor sentiment being a little bit more bearish and bullish is dropping down. Still bullish though, right? But not past historical levels as much. Actually, technically, the market is expecting the next 6 months to be more bearish versus bullish because the bearish number is higher than the bullish. But the indications are kind of showing more upside. Now, the little bit of a slowdown, like I stated earlier, was more for the 1 month and 3 month and 6 month chart. 1 month is kind of showing potential pull down a little bit because, mind you, we're at all-time high levels, right? The S&P, this is the all-time highs. We created new all-time highs within the trading week. And then 3 month as well, it's, still in the bullish, but it looks like it might see a slowdown, right? We had a massive volume uptick sell on the last trading day. and then like near the close of the trading day too as well. And the 6 month is in the bullish, but again, pretty high volume sells versus the past few trading days. So a little bit of a slowdown, but ultimately probably closing off by the end of the trading week. If we have good data points for the unemployment and employment numbers and all stuff, then we're still heading up higher, right? That's just my opinion. Again, please do your own due diligence and research before buying and selling, because I'm not a professional. This is just all my opinion, just sharing based off of what I see. For the NASDAQ, almost basically same thing. We have an upward trend resistance level, upward trend support level. Did break through in 2020 to 2022, came back underneath. We had issues passing it once again with the upward trend resistance level dating back to 2010, right? And now if I zoom in, you can see pretty much this is the upward trend resistance line dating back to 2010. A couple false breakouts, but we did break through and then came back underneath and then broke through finally once again. And the indications are pretty much the exact same thing as the S&P. 1 year chart is in the bearish, but it looks like it's going to cross over to the bullish. 5 year chart, bullish. All chart, bullish. Does it guarantee that we have to cross over to bullish for the 1 year chart? No, not necessarily. There's been times we've did down even lower, right? Right about here, you can see bullish or bearish and trying to cross over. But then we are above all the moving averages for the 1 month, 3 month, and 6 month chart, and 1 year chart, and 5 year chart, and all stuff. But if I go to the 1 month chart, you can see potentially the same thing with the S&P, a little bit of a slowdown, a little bit, because again, all-time high zones within this zone, not exactly like the S&P. The S&P created the new all-time highs. These all-time highs were still recent, sometime in early of November all-time highs. We could go retest them maybe for the NASDAQ and then maybe have issues, but we'll see. 3 month chart, same thing like the S&P, a little bit bullish movement, but probably kind of going to slow down. We saw a little bit of an uptick of volume sales towards the end of the trading day. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be strong like the S&P. The S&P was quite strong in terms of potentially getting pulled down, potentially. And S&P in the bullish movement. Again, ultimately heading up, in my opinion, but a little bit of a slowdown probably in the beginning of the trading week, potentially. The Dow Jones, right about here, it's basically the one year chart. Again, it's above all the moving averages, 1 month, 3 month, 6 month charts, and the 1 year, 5 year, and all chart, all above the moving averages. Plus more showing to the bullish movement overall. So here's the 1 year chart, bullish movement for the MAC line. 5 year chart, bullish movement. All chart, bullish movement. And then the 1 month, 3 month, I believe there are slowdowns a little bit. Yeah, 1 month potentially crossing over to the bearish. 3 month bearish movement, and 6 month about to be in the bearish movement. So, and the Dow Jones is at the all-time high, like just like the S&P. So the S&P and the Dow Jones are creating new all-time highs just pretty much the past few trading days, as opposed to the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ created all-time highs in early part of November, give or take, close to mid-November, and potentially could go retest them. And then we'll see what happens for the NASDAQ for that aspect. But yeah, so that's basically it for today's video. Thanks again for watching. Appreciate it. If you guys do want to be notified when I next time upload, consider following, subscribing so you'll be notified when I do. Thanks again for watching. Take care. God bless and peace.